Hey guys, what are you all today? So yeah, I just want to give you my immediate reaction after watching the World Rugby Awards. It was pretty interesting to see, how it is all gonna plan out. But yeah, no, very interesting to see, the results and who won the awards, of course. And I just want to give you my immediate reaction after watching. So yeah, just starting off with I'll go with the HSBC Sevens Player of the Year for both men's and women's. So of course, with the women's awards, actually, Portia Woodman actually won both the Player of the Decade for women's and the sevens, as well as Try of the Decade for women's within 15s as well. So credit to her, she won 2 awards. And to be fair, she's just one of those players who really stands out within the women's game. I mean, particularly within the last decade, of course. And yeah, I'd say, personally, I have, not a lot of knowledge within, the women's game, particularly within sevens. But I've definitely seen her play a lot within Hong Kong, especially, because I'm from there, and it's just it's one of those places where I've seen her just play, and she always stands out within that New Zealand side, and particularly within the 15s game now, her level has just been incredible to watch. So it's just particularly within the Rugby Sevens World Cup. So yeah, she's just been she's been a standout player. I can't argue that she's won both awards, really. I mean, if you look at her try, her try is insane. It's it's a well-worked try, actually, but there's just individual brilliance from her in the sense where she just got it down the line. So yeah, credit to her in winning both awards, really. But yeah, for the men's HSBC Player of the Year, with Jerry Tuai, I was happy to see that he won. Personally, I would have I said if Jerry Tuai won or Cecil Africa, I would have been happy. Those 2 players, I think, have just really had been a level above, you could say, throughout the whole period between 2010 to 2020. You have players within there like Werner Koch and Perry Baker who've actually, you could say within the last 5 years have really stood out. But if you had to really give it to someone, I fully agree that Jerry Tuai deserves it. I mean, he's just one of those players who, personally, I don't think he gets enough recognition for what he's done within his sevens career. I mean, he only recently won Player of the Year within the sevens circuit, and it's crazy because he's just one of those players who always gets selected within the top 3 of every single award ceremony for sevens Player of the Year, but just he never actually gets it. So last year was actually his first year of actually getting the award. So just for him to win this award for Player of the Decade, it just shows how consistent he's been throughout the whole decade. So yeah, credit to him, really. So yeah, moving on to the tries of the decade. Obviously I talked about Woodman winning the women's try of the decade. I'll definitely try to put some links below if I can find them. But yeah, no, for the men's one though, I was a bit surprised to be honest that JB Hespep did win it from Ireland. That try against Italy within the Six Nations, that's it was a very well worked try. I mean, and it's a forward as well. So yeah, credit to him, really. I love this. I love this acceptance speech at the end where he just said, this try is for the, for the Ireland team, but as well as just for all the forwards out there in the world. So I love that from him. So I personally just it was cool to see that he did that. He didn't have to do that, but yeah, it was a well worked try. I mean, personally, I wouldn't give it to him. I mean, I am wearing an Ireland top, so I mean, fair credit to him. I do like him a lot. But if I had to give it to someone, I probably would have given it to Beauden Barrett within 2013 against France. It's also a team try, and I just thought what they did within that try was just, it was just brilliant. I mean, you had Rene Ranger just coming along, doing the pass, and then you had the kick, and Beauden Barrett just, getting it perfectly all for Aaron Cruden. It was, personally, that's the better. I think that's the best try. I mean, but that's only because of the way that I saw Beauden Barrett, throughout his career, build up within the All Blacks, going from a bench player scoring, tries week in, week out, and then actually getting the, start for the All Blacks and just having the, the career that everyone knows he has now. So, yeah, that was one of his first tries, you could say, coming off the bench for the All Blacks. So, that's why I love that try a lot. But, yeah, you just got to give credit to, Hazley for that. He definitely deserves to win this try for the try of the decade. So, fair credit to him. So yeah, for the last one, probably the most interesting one, which most people want to hear, is just my reaction to the men's player of the year and women's player of the year. I don't want to pronounce it wrong because I've actually seen her a lot play. She's Jessie Trulemeyer. I might pronounce that wrong, tell me if I do, but she did win the player of the decade for the 15s. And yeah, credit to her. She's been a brilliant player to watch, and I mean brilliant. I am surprised. I'll mention later on why I'm surprised about something, but she's just been a brilliant player like to watch throughout the whole decade. Really, I mean, she's shown at every opportunity. She's so good. Like what I love about her is that she reminds me of a sense of like what Bowden Barrett can do within the men's game, where like she's a 15, but like she's very good at kicking. Like she's able to like step so easily and just move around opposition like quick. Yeah, she has fast feet, and obviously her try against England just pops up in my head, where she just came down the left corner and just bossed off everyone and just scored that try. That was a good try to watch. But anyway, yeah, she fully deserves to win Women's Player of the Year, and of the decade, and yeah, credit to her really. But yeah, for the interesting one with Men's Player of the Year, there were a few candidates in there which were kind of obvious in a sense, and some which I was just surprised about, with the likes of Sexton, and you could say, others which I understand why, but they don't go ahead, like Karen Reid. Like I understand he's had a brilliant career, winning the World Cup in 2011 and 2015, but I think everyone kind of knew that the main two candidates for this award was Dan Carter and Richie Mccall. So yeah, if either one of them won, I think everyone would have been happy. And of course, Richie Mccall did in fact win the award, which I'm truly happy about. I mean, I did put my vote towards him winning, and he's just been a brilliant player. I mean, you can't explain how much of an important player he's been towards the All Blacks just within this whole decade. I mean, personally, a lot of people look at the 2015 World Cup and just be like, that was his best playing days. But for me, I always look back to 2011, just where he was just sensational to watch within that final against France, and how he just how they were able just to tackle the French, and just he's just such a brilliant captain as well. So yeah, I fully agree that he should be Men's Player of the Year. Just captaining your side to 2 World Cups is the first ever someone's done it. So I mean, it's not really surprising that he has won the award, and he totally deserves it. So yeah, fair credit to him. He definitely deserves the win. But yeah, moving on from the Player of the Year awards, pretty much the last one which I want to talk about, which is it's a hard one to talk about, but I would have gone with so there's the team of the tournament, essentially the team of the decade. Team of the decade for this whole decade, and it's a very interesting one for both men's and women's. I'll obviously just go through the women's first. The women's, to be frank, like it was kind of, I'm not saying predictable, but there was a shock in a sense where I'm kind of surprised she's not mentioned, and it's actually the Player of the Decade, which I'm just surprised she's actually not in it. Jessie Trulemeyer. I mean, she's not even in the player, the Team of the Decade for women's, which is so surprising. I mean, I know a few of the players here, of course, with Emily Scully at 13, brilliant player. Portia Woodman, like I was talking about before, within the 11th spot, which is kind of predictable in a sense. You have the likes of Lisa Thompson as well as Danielle Wallman for England, who both have been very impressive for England throughout this whole decade. So credit to them, really. And yeah, there's a list of others. I mean, there's Maggie Afonso, who of course was one of the presenters within this Rugby World Cup Awards, and I obviously haven't seen a lot of her. I mean, but I have seen clips of her and highlights and everything, and I can just tell from them that she was a brilliant player to watch. So yeah, fair to her, credit to her for sure. Fair play to all of them. Definitely just great to see that. There's a whole list of them. I think out of the whole side, let me just count quickly. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 English players within this player team of the decade. So it just shows the English have really dominated the women's game within the last decade. And yeah, with I think there's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 New Zealanders, and and there's only 1 French. That's crazy. I mean, I still can't believe the player of the decade isn't in the team of the decade. But I mean, what can you do really? What can you say? But yeah, that's it with the women's team of the decade. And that's just my reaction to the team of the decade for the men's, which I found very interesting. I mean, there's a few players in here which I'm just surprised about, but I understand why they've been selected. So, like, I can go into detail about a lot of them. I mean, first of all, we're number one with the Beast. Like, totally deserved. Totally deserved. He's been by far the best number one throughout this whole decade. I'm not even going to argue that. If anyone argues that, like, you haven't seen him play. Like, straight up, what a beast. I mean, he's just a beast. He's a beast. And yeah, number two, they're going with Bismack Duplessis, which is kind of surprising in a sense, where he is a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong. Brilliant player. But I personally would have not gone with him. I mean, I know that sounds far-stretched. I mean, I think there's a few better candidates you could have gone for. I mean, on the top of my head, I mean, I would have gone for someone like maybe Dan Coles. Like, personally, that's what I would have gone for. But obviously, they've gone for someone more experienced, and he's been very impressive for the Springboks throughout his whole career. Particularly, I'd say within 2011 and 2015 as well, he's been very impressive then. So yeah, fair credit to him, really. And yeah, number three, they're going with Owen Franks, which is kind of a surprise in the sense where, like, Owen Franks is one of those players who just he's so consistent within the scrum that he helped New Zealand so much within the scrum. I feel like they won so many penalties because of him. So I fully understand why he's in the side, and for what he's done for the All Blacks, winning two World Cups, it's just credit to him, really. He's within one of those. He's within the list of players who's won two. So I mean, what can you really say? Personally, after watching him a lot, I would have gone with Tad Furlong. I'm not trying to be like, I am wearing an Irish shirt, but I'm not trying to be any bias here, because don't get me wrong, I love New Zealand. I love New Zealand to bits, but I personally would have gone with Tad Furlong. I think he's just changed the game within that free spot, and yeah, he's just been brilliant to watch. I mean, particularly within the Lions tour within New Zealand, he just, in my opinion, he was like the best prop within the Lions tour. So yeah, he's just one of those players who I've really loved to watch for Ireland, and particularly within the Six Nations. He's just been, he's great within those scrums. He always wins a few penalties. But yeah, anyway, moving on from the props and hookers, moving on to the locks. So yeah, the locks is pretty interesting. I mean, the first one's kind of predictable in a sense with Brodie Retallick. He's just a brilliant player, and he obviously won Player of the Year within 2015. So what can you say more, really? He's just a class player. Samuel Whitelock got the other lock position, which I am kind of surprised about. I mean, he's very consistent. So I'm not really going to argue the fact that he should be within this side. I mean, personally, I would have gone with someone more like Edsabith, maybe. Personally, I would have gone with Edsabith, but I can understand why they've chosen Whitelock. I mean, he's just been... He's been like a leader. He's been like the second leader within the side throughout 2015 and really 2019, so I can understand why they've really selected him. But yeah, with the number 6 spot with David Pocock, I mean, I'm not going to say anything more. Totally deserved. One of, in my opinion, Australia's best ever player. That might be saying much, because a lot of people might, I might get a lot of backlash for that, because a lot of people might think that it's John Isles or maybe even George Gregan. But personally, I think David Pocock has been Australia's best player throughout the whole decade. So I'm just happy to see that he's been included, and of course he's from born in Zimbabwe, so just happy about that. But yeah, anyway, just happy to see that he's in the side. He's definitely been the best 6 by far, and it's just one of the most brilliant players from the breakdown that I've personally watched. So yeah, definitely deserves to be from the side. And yeah, obviously the obvious one was 7. I mean, who else can it be? Richie Mccall. I mean, of course. I mean, personally, I'd say he's going to captain this side. They haven't really put a captain on this on the thing, but anyway, if you look at the photo here, I mean, if you just look at the photo, it's going to be one of those ones where Richie just has to win. I mean, he had to get the position. I really can't think of another player who would even challenge him to that 7 spot. So I'm just going to move on from that. I think that's probably the obvious pick there. But yeah, number 8, what I was very, at first I was very surprised, but then as soon as I saw his name, I was like, oh, totally deserved. And I understand why, because, Sergio Parisi for Italy, he's just been brilliant. You have to understand the circumstances that he's been in, like where, obviously he's plays for Italy, and when you look at like Richie Mccall, he's won like over 200 matches. But then you have Sergio Parisi, who's lost more than 100 matches. But people still recognize what he's done within that Italy side, and just for him just being a world-class player throughout this whole decade. So I'm just glad to see that he was included. I mean, obviously a lot of people, including myself, originally thought Terry Dusautoir would probably be the number 8, and I mean, I love it a bit. I mean, I think he was. I'm so happy he won Player of the Year within 2011, because I personally think he was Player of the Year. A lot of people still disagree with that, but moving on. I'm sad that he's not included, but also I understand why he's not being, because of Sergio Parisi. He's just been so consistent for Italy throughout this last decade, and yeah, it was sad to see that his the end to his career was kind of like, I'm not saying like damage in a sense, but like the farewell to his career was kind of like not what we all hoped for, and obviously with Typhoon Hagibis, cancelling the New Zealand Italy game within the last seconds of, obviously from Typhoon, but yeah, I think he's had a great career. So I'm just happy to see he's been included within the side. But yeah, number 9, they're going with Conor Murray, who's very interesting, actually. It's probably one of the only positions where I kind of just disagree fully that he shouldn't be in the side. Like, I personally think Aaron Smith has just been the better scrum half. I mean, he's just been, in my opinion, flat out the better scrum half. And I think he's really changed the game of how scrum half really has to operate with it. I mean, everyone knows Aaron Smith for his passing. Like, he's just the best scrum half. He can just pass the ball. He's just so, he's so good at it. And he's just able to find spaces, and his kicking is his box kicking is very good as well. I mean, I'll give credit to Conor Murray. I understand why he's been selected, with Ireland's performances, throughout the Six Nations, throughout this decade, as well as his performances, you could say, within the Lions tours as well. So I understand why he's definitely been, selected. He's been a great player to watch, and yeah, also his box kicking is pretty good as well. So yeah, credit to him, really. But yeah, at number 10, I mean, I think there was really no other player you could have selected here more than Dan Carter. I mean, what a player. I mean, he's just an outstanding player to watch, and he just fully deserves to win 10. I mean, he's just been the best 10 within the decade. I mean, if there's another player who I think gets a solid shout, who I think is very underrated, but obviously has been highly, you could say, been noticed recently, is Nicolas Sanchez for Argentina. I think he's just been a brilliant player to watch, and I think he has just helped the Pumas just become a great team throughout this last decade. So I want to give credit to him before because I just want to mention him, because I feel he definitely deserves a shout within that spot. But yeah, Dan Carter, what can you say? Yeah, he's just a 2-time player of the year. He's won 2 World Cups with New Zealand. What can you say more? He definitely deserves to get that 10 spot. And yeah, the center combination is very interesting with Nanu at 12 and Brian O'Driscoll at 13. Personally, I mean, this is just one of those, the positions I'm not even going to have. I'm not going to argue at all. I literally think that is the best combination you could have gone with in the history of rugby. So it's my opinion, but you can comment below if you guys think there's a better center than those two. But I personally think that what Nanu has done for New Zealand, as well as Driscoll for Ireland, they've been brilliant. I mean, first of all, Driscoll's has the most tries as a centre, so you got to give him that spot. And Nanu's just really, he's been so consistent in the sense of how he's played with the All Blacks throughout his whole career, and he's also a 2-time World Cup winner, so he's part of that list as well. So yeah, you just got to give where credit's due, really. But yeah, with the 14 slot, I think this is probably the most, I'm not saying debatable one, but I think a lot of people might question this choice with George North being selected at the 14 slot, which I find it's, to be honest, I'm actually, when I first saw it, I'll give you my honest reaction. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But as soon as when it came to mine, I was like, fair enough, because he was brilliant throughout that 2013 Lions tour against Australia. Brilliant. I mean, obviously we know that his push against Israel Folau and just knocking him down to the ground. Yeah, that was great. And obviously he scored a few tries then. And yeah, he's just been a very consistent player for Wales throughout this whole decade. So I can see why he's actually been selected. And yeah, credit to him. He's actually, now that I think about it more, he's been a very good player. Yeah. So yeah, what can I say more, really? And yeah, with the 11th spot, sorry I missed it before, but yeah, I selected Brian Habana, which is kind of you could say, I'm not going to say an obvious pick, but I mean, I might be just a teensy bit biased here, but he's just been my, he's my favorite player ever, favorite rugby player ever. So I was just happy to see that he's included. He is, the tied, record holder for the most tries within the rugby, within a Rugby World Cup. So within all Rugby World Cups, I mean. So yeah, credit to him. It's just been sensational to watch. I mean, the way that he just gets past players and just is so clinical in his try scoring, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, credit to him really, and I'm not really surprised in that selection. But yeah, with the last one with 15, I'm going with Ben Smith, and I couldn't agree more. He's been if you're talking about consistency, he is the exact definition of what a consistent player is, and he is by far the most just consistent player ever within the last decade. I can't be even more. I can't find another word to explain how consistent he's been, but yeah, credit to him. He's just been brilliant. I mean, obviously for the Highlanders as well as the All Blacks, and just another 2-time Rugby World Cup winner. So I mean, what else can you say? He's just been one of those players who I fairly enjoy to watch, and yeah, I mean, obviously it was hard to see that he obviously retired, but he's just one of those players who I love watching. I love watching him. But yeah, that kind of wraps up the whole awards really. I mean, if just want to give you, if you guys want to, just give me your reaction below, and if you guys agree with the selection of the awards, if you think someone totally deserved it, or if you thought someone else should have deserved it, comment below. Just want to see you guys' reactions as well. But yeah, just overall, it's been a weird 2020, and obviously it's affected rugby a lot, and it's just great to see that a lot of the rugby community has actually come together in the sense, and just trying to help others. But yeah, just hopefully 2021 is a lot better for rugby, and just looking forward to it. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of it with the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.